Guns don't protect people, they injure and kill.
The only purpose of a gun is to kill someone. An AR-15, when responsibly used, kills people.
What the f?
We're revisiting one of the favorite arguments that gun control advocates like to make against gun ownership. They kill people! 70% of murders are committed with guns. Well, that's not the whole story, and here's what's missing. To help illustrate my point, observe these two live videos that were taken within the last year and a half. Here is one of those evil AR-15s, and it's shooting. What people could it be slaughtering? Steel? Now, the rifle used in that video is this one right here, another AR-15, one whose basic design, operation, and ammunition are practically identical to the one that was used in Sandy Hook. What is the big difference between this rifle and that one? The man behind the trigger. In this case, this man has no criminal record, no intention or interest in committing any sort of criminal activity. Now, in Exhibit B, we will discuss how handguns are the #1 tool used in gun-related violent crime. Who's being slaughtered here? Nothing but paper. In fact, we had 3 people at this range in North Carolina that day, shooting about 5 handguns right there. And no one was injured, no one was murdered, and no mass slaughters were committed. So either these guns are defective in their primary purpose, or how they are used is still largely dependent upon the person holding them. Which will probably explain why, when it comes to prosecuting gun-related crime, you never see a gun on the defense stand, but rather a person. Real-world experience and real-world data tends to expose gun control propaganda for the mythology it actually is. Because, let's face it, practically everybody who steps outside their door to engage in whatever business they have for the day, whether it be going to work, whether it be going shopping, whether it be going to eating or traveling to visit friends and family, don't do so dodging a hail of bullets. They don't step over bodies. They don't have to wipe their shoes of whatever blood gun control advocates insist must be running in the streets thanks to our loose gun laws. And it also exposes, in this case, the sort of confusion that gun control advocates try to make of this 70% figure. Now, bear in mind, they are talking about 70% of homicides being committed with guns, which is not the same as saying 70% of guns are used in homicide. Now, if the latter were case, then gun control would have overwhelming support, and rightly so. But real-world statistics paint a radically different picture. So getting back to this 70% figure, what does it mean? Well, according to FBI crime statistics, that 70% represents about 11,000 murders. Now, some would say 11,000 is 11,000 way too much, and I would be apt to agree. But you also need to understand that this is happening in a country of 322 million, which means the overwhelming number of Americans were not murdered by guns. It also means that the overwhelming majority of America's 350 to 600 million guns were not used in murder. And finally, it means that the overwhelming majority of America's gun owners did not engage in murder neither. Brief recap. The overwhelming number of guns and gun owners do not engage in murder, and therefore the overwhelming number of Americans aren't murdered by guns. That's the shot. Here's the chaser. According to the FBI UCRs of 2016, the overwhelming number of gun-related violent crime was not murder. No, it was mostly assault and robbery, with murder coming in a distant third, comprising only about 3.4% of all gun-related violent crime. And here's the takeaway. Most gun-toting criminals understand the lethal potential in something like this, but rather than using it to kill, they tend to use it to persuade. In the case of assault, to threaten, and in the case of robbery, to coerce. Now, conversely, they also understand what this potential means in the hands of a potential victim. And this dissuades them from carrying out their plans against such potential victims in numbers far greater than crimes that they commit with these items right here. And this is something that the gun control lobby tends to fail to understand about a gun's lethal potential, that it is not only able to be used to take away lives and to break laws, but to preserve lives and to maintain order within American society. And that is why gun ownership is a net benefit to American society.